Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins. Before we have a closer look at all the content here in this video, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Doing those three things doesn't cost you a dime and it helps the channel immensely. For those of you that do want to invest more in your game and become a better player quicker, then you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link that is in the description down below. Patreon.com/GolfClashTommy. And for those that are looking for more free content as well, our website GolfClashTommy.com is the place where you can find loads and loads on loads of free content to learn from. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get to the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number one. Hole number one, if we do have a tailwind, we are going to send it. If we do have a crosswind or a headwind, we are going to lay up. What we're doing here now, or what I'm doing, is that I'm gonna put my target at plus 24 yards. Have in mind that if you do play with an Apocalypse level 4, for an example, you're putting that club up to max with a P5 ball. So here we're not entirely up into max club. We're having bullseye by the rough line to simplify the landing position a lot. And we're going to use 5.8 topspin and 2 right spin. Adjust max no elevation. We're not pushing up, which means that we're going to play with a max OP needle, and it's going to be completely slow. 1.5 ball of right curl. We're bouncing on the fairway, and it rolls down to be around the green. Sure, you could push this one with more curl, but for me, I'm satisfied to be here for a wedge on the second shot. We're going to take a look at the wedge as well, just for reference, even though that's obviously a no-brainer. When we get here, we're going to do our very best to lock in the eagle. So I'm doing an EB School version. There are tutorials here on YouTube that do show you EB School if there is something that you do not know just of yet, which is fine. I mean, we can all learn new things, but this is definitely a method that has helped my wedge game immensely. So 20% elevation with no spin, and then whatever power ball that I'm using, which in this case is a P5 ball. No spin whatsoever, so again, you don't have to have any high clubs for this type of shot. Now, to summarize here in the end, if you do have a crosswind ahead when you need to lay up, and then you're gonna play a short iron towards the pin. But if it is a tailwind, we're gonna send it, and then the eagle is gonna be very, I'm not going to say very easy, but it's going to be a bit simpler than if you have to lay up. For hole number 2, we do have a headwind, and in a headwind, I'm going to find absolute min line with my sniper, leaving a little gap from the yellow ring to the rough line, so approximately 20% of the red ring outside onto the fairway. Using 0.9 backspin and 3 right spin. Adjust max plus 15. And then I'm going to hit perfect, and in this case drop it for an hole-in-one. I really do enjoy this spot though, because I do feel that the ball comes in very nicely here. But to have everything else said about hole 2 as well is that you have an open fairway, you have an open green, you have some rough on the right, rough on the left. So there are possibilities here for you to go all from a rough bump to backspin shots and whatnot. But I do really believe how this ball comes in nicely, and that is going to be a good shot in general. Obviously, if you do have a tailwind, you're going to have to play with a long iron if you're going to back up playing from there, because then otherwise you will pull into min club. So hole number 2, I believe this is the best chance for an hole-in-one of all the par 3s. Hole number 3, and here if we do have a favorable wind or have the possibility to play with a lot of topspin, like a topspin boost ball, we should be trying to get over on the right hand side. That will leave for a much easier way of attacking for the albatross. But I'm playing this hole as we do not have that possibility, so what I'm focusing on is to lay up as close to the rough line to the right without obviously rolling into the rough. I will be using a power 5 ball here to ensure that I do have distance enough on the approach. this type of play, it could be very problematic if you do have a direct headwind. If you do have a direct headwind, then I would say I recommend to use a Cataclysm or a big dog to ensure as much power possible. You may be wondering, why don't I shoot further up on the fairway? And the reasoning for that is then the big tree by the green is going to be in play, and then we're going to have to do a blind setup, which is not something I would personally prefer. When it comes to the second shot, I will be missing this one to the right, but I think there is a couple of things here that we need to reflect about, and that is, first and foremost, they have changed this hole without telling anyone that they have changed it. So the way we played it before was that you see that big tree to the left that is a little bit further back than the one by the green. That tree used to be basically where we are aiming now, and that would allow us to play on the fairway that is there to the left into the shadow, and then we could attack the pin. It was actually a pretty decent chance for an albatross. But now, for some reason, they have changed it. I don't know if it was a design error from the beginning when we got this course, but now they have changed it, so now it forces us to play a much more difficult route, especially for those of you that are playing free to play. So once again, if you do have special balls and such like that, you're going to have a much easier time attacking for the albatross. But if you don't have that possibility, you're going to have to force yourself playing two very difficult shots. There is no problem by going safely for an eagle here, and in the end that's what we are ending up with, because I adjust +10 on the approach instead of the 0, which is the elevation that we are going to play on the approach. But it is important to have in mind here that you have possibility to push in a much better way, with better balls, with better club, or at least I do have a good club here in the video, but if I'm using all the topspin and stuff like that. But I wanted to give you a route that even those players that do not have the best clubs, the best balls, have the possibility to follow. In a tailwind, on the drive, you have a possibility to go over on the right-hand side. Like I said from the beginning, that is something we do want to do, and that's definitely the ultimate way to go about it. Hole number 4, we are going to do an NMT here with a power 0 ball. It's not showing here on the video because it is a replay glitch, but we're starting with a basic ball, and then the club is going to open up like this. Then I'm swapping in headwind to a Titan ball to allow myself to not pull into max club. If I do have a crosswind or a tailwind, I can stay with, not stay, but I can change to maybe a navigator or a katana or something like that to save my power 3 balls. Max +20 is the adjustment, 1 ball of right curl, and trying to hit perfect using 5.8 topspin and 1 right spin. The ball rolls down nicely on the fairway, and we're looking to be close to the rough line, but not close enough that we flirt and danger in any way the water. Now on the second shot, what we're going to do here is that we are going to use our thorn, not the sniper as displayed here in the picture. So we're going to change that to that one. So we're doing the thorn, and my little trick here now, because I believe that bouncing on the green is actually fairly inconsistent. So my little trick to have a consistent ball guideline to attack here and not to have to use a lot of backspin is actually use the fringe. Look how good the ball guideline become here from the fringe. A very low first bounce, which means that the ball will be affected not that much by the wind, and it looks very consistent in terms of glitch spots as well. So I'm looking to be centered onto the fringe, no elevation, true club distance. Obviously, from a tournament perspective, having a pin check or a fringe check or something like that will come very handy. But here I play mid distance, no elevation, and using the 2 right spin ball guideline through the hole. Due to the fact that we do have a headwind, with no headwind, I would be leaving the ball guideline just through the hole or just into the hole, because the wind will then help making sure we're not going short in line. So a simple way of getting the eagle layer on hole number 4. One thing to add though is that if we do have a straight tailwind, you can try sending this one, and there is definitely a possibility to get the ball to green. Take your game to the next level with the first 18-hole tournament of the new season. This is the Players Championship coming up in Golf Clash with the TPC Sawgrass, and this is gonna be super thrilling. And I wish we would be playing more of the real courses out there in the world here in the game. So we're gonna definitely take the chances to be spot on and have some fun when the Players Championship comes back into Golf Clash. For those of you that do want to improve your game, make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do have something for each and every one, and when it comes to tour play, tournament play, and checkpoint challenge. And for us, the biggest focus is to improve your game and making sure that you get the best possible content and service for the money that you spend. We do believe that getting our guides is definitely something that makes you save money, because if you're going to consistently get to the weekend rounds, which we know you will get with our guides, then you're gonna have to either get our guides or you're gonna have to practice yourself, which means that you're gonna spend practice tokens, you're gonna spend balls that you otherwise do not have to do. So in that case, a small investment in a guide is definitely something that could make you save money and still be competitive. If any questions, you can always email support@golfclashtommy.com. Let's do it and crush the TPC Sawgrass in the Players Championship here in Golf Clash. On the drive here on hole number 5, we're doing an NMT, which means I'm not touching the target until it's time to adjust the reins. 1.5 bar topspin and 3 left spin adjustment is max plus 10. The NMT here on the drive is to help simplify finding the correct spot, and you can obviously play this with lower level drivers as well. Now, the curl that I'm using is 0.75 ball of left curl, trying to hit perfect obviously, and going to do my very best to get myself into range that is long iron on the approach. The important part with this hole here is not to go too far. If you go too far with your drive, you're gonna have the right side tree to be in your face, and that's going to make you lose out the opportunity of making an albatross. It is here on hole number 5. So what I'm doing here now is that I'm playing with the Grizzly. If you do have B52, I mean that is level 6 or better, that's definitely a better club to use because it has more yardage. Obviously playing with a P3 would help too. Now I'm aiming close to the tree, but it's not as close as it looks. It's just that the aim point is more flat, in my opinion, the more left we are on that rough. So I'm using the plus yardage on my club to get myself the correct type of reference when it comes to the adjustment on the second shot. 3 right spin, some top spin to get the ball guideline just short of hold. And here I'm actually playing max plus 5 in total, this from plus 4 landing position. You can ignore the rough bump here and go directly on the fairway. The problem you may have there is the fact that you might have the tree then that is going to cover the adjustment view, and you might clip the tree and then you might end up into crap. So therefore the rough bump here, as it is such a massive rough as well, I would say there is no danger in playing the rough bump, and I believe that gives you the best opportunity for an albatross. Hole number 6, and when I do have a slight headwind or a direct crosswind, I'm playing from P1 min line. Here I'm playing with a navigator, but you can obviously play with any P1 ball that you do have. 1 left spin, and I'm gonna have backspin to let the ball guideline go approximately 1 green square through the hole. If it is more headwind, I would leave the ball guideline even more through the hole, because otherwise there is a risk of us going short. Max plus 10 is the adjustment here from min line, and also to have that said, pack the Grizzly or the backbone to ensure that you do find a proper min line, so you're not finding yourself with the Goliath or the B52, then you're gonna risk jumping back and forth between the long iron and the wood club. Max plus 10 is the adjustment that I'm using in the video. Perfect ball it is, and we're then going to bounce on the fairway up onto the green, and we're dropping this 1 not entirely a dead center because we're dropping it left side cup. A drop is a drop, and hole number 6, I do believe, is going to be quite tricky as a par 3 here at the Players 9-hole cup. On hole 7, we are going to send it. I'm setting up at max P3 line for an APOC 5 at 5 to 8. For APOC 4, you're going to set up at plus 23, which means that you have to start with at least a power 4 ball to find the position. But that's what we're going to play with a P5 ball anyway. Then, you know, that's going to be fine. Bullseye by the rough line, 3 top spin, 0.9 left spin, adjustment max plus 15. And what I'm doing here now is then to go max curl to the left, max overpower with a slower needle. The intention obviously is to hit perfect, and then you can have different type of bounces once you hit fairway. One thing is that you can get those dead bounces, which is like this, and you're going to end up for a wedge. Or you get the longer bounces, which is going to land you on green. And this is most definitely a possibility for you to get yourself on hole-in-one on this par 4. That's why I think in any crosswind and tailwind, you're going to send this one. If you do have a headwind, you're going to have to lay up, which obviously is not fun, but you can't really send it in a positive way. You could if playing with a big boy club and also a really good ball, but in general, I would say in headwind, we're going to lay up. Just for reference, the wedge, 20% elevation, EB school, no spin, P5 numbers as I'm playing with a P5 ball. If you're playing with any other ball, you obviously use that power ball number as to align with your adjustment. So making the adjustment, we're doing that here, and then we're going to center the ball and hit perfect, grab our eagle, and move on to hole number 8. Hole number 8 is probably the most trickiest hole that we do have of the TPC Sawgrass here in the Players and 9-hole cup. Here I'm starting at the top of plus 11, red ring by the rough line. For those playing with Apocalypse level 4, then you start at the plus 17 yard mark. 5.8 topspin, which once again is for every driver, so we do have the possibility to use the topspin, so we're not getting stuck by limited or being limited by the club that we're having. Adjust max no elevation, then we're going max curl to the left. And the reason I'm doing this is to make sure to play a shot that don't require any overpower, and I'm taking a shortcut in between the trees by bouncing into the rough to roll out and then give me an open shot for the pin. Because that's the issue with hole number 8, is that if you are laying up to the right, the trees will cover your view and you will struggle even saving the eagle here on this par 5. And also if you're trying to go aggressive, going with a lot of overpower around the trees that is there in the center, and that's going to be an issue as well, because what if you mess up, what if you hit a bad grade or something like that, or you roll into the rough, then you might lose out on the first and foremost albatross, but also the eagle. So this is a much smarter drive in my opinion. Now for the second shot, we are going to look where min club is, and from there we're going to push up rings. Here I'm pushing up 5 rings, position myself with the red ring by the rough line, and then applying spins so the ball guideline is approximately 1 green square short of the hole. What we need to have in mind though when it comes to this type of approach, especially when it comes to having a slight tailwind, is that the ball may come in a tad too hot, which is something I should have thought of, and aim with the ball guideline a little bit further back than what I'm doing. But from here, it's all about finding the correct adjustment. Here I'm adjusting a little bit too much, not much, not extremely too much, but a little bit too much that makes me miss. But this is a solid approach that with a little dialed in the tournament will reward you with a possibility of attacking this hole for an albatross, where many players that do not really know about the shortcut way will struggle immensely of getting themselves to have a look for an albatross, where you watching here and also having our guides in expert and also master will have a massive advantage over others. I do think hole 9 is going to be the most difficult playing from the second tee, because we are going to find ourselves playing with a long iron more or less every single time. What I'm doing here now is that I'm using my Saturn, all the backspin, half of our right spin, and you can see here using the yellow rain to be by the French ball guideline as you see in the video, and from there we're adjusting max plus 40. The reason I'm using the Saturn here is to allow myself to land on green. I want to land on green because landing on the fairway before the green always gives a weird bounce, and it's super difficult to dial in and hole in one with that. Now, using outside wall right curl as the wind is pushing right to left, is to straighten the ball guideline out, or the ball's flight out, and give myself a chance for the hole in one. Any wind come left to right, you don't need to use any curl. That's the same if you do have a straight wind as well. But in the end, I do feel there is tons of value in landing on the green directly. Worst case scenario, with all the backspin, you find yourself with a very simple birdie putt. But hole 9, that's gonna definitely be some trouble for the players. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert division here with various wins. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit the thumbs up button before you leave. Scan the QR code here on the screen, or use the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy that is in the description down below. That will take you to our premium guides where you can subscribe and start improving your game today. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.